Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. You'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief. Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. You'll be feeding.
Sorry about that, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Listen, today's spiritual trying to process a few things that I'm dealing with, going through good, bad, everything in between, business. Just need a little bit of a mental break. So I thought it'd be awesome. This show, a little bit like that. Yeah, I feel good. Knowledge. Really good. This could have been a not guaranteed. I had a great conversation with my father this morning while I was on the track, and we really been talking about what it is to have a purposeful existence. Number one, the topic of the show today is as many so today's show is really about when I say surplus, that gives you a redundant joy. And what I mean a redundant joy is that it doesn't matter who says what, when, where. You can think about it and it takes you to a very happy place. Something that your mother did for you a long time ago, something kind that happened for you, something that made you smile and think differently about the humanity you were existing in at that point in time, that gave you the veritable lift, if you will. We've spoken this week talking about one of the challenges that I see is just that across the board in many situations and many scenarios, we're not seeing the gravitas of people engaging and investing in things that lift up the human condition. We are in a space where we're trying to repair the human condition, repair it from damage, repair it from war, repair it from poverty. But we're not on the front side saying, let me lift you up before there is crisis. The price of a pound of bananas is 49 cents in peacetime, but the price of a pound of bananas in wartime is $4. That weighs on the soul. And one of the larger things that we're going to be talking about is so much in the anyway, so we're going to be talking about humans. Be right back. Back. Happy, SOS family, have a blessed day. Shout out to Mary Moss, SOS. Shout out to Aunt Maxine Cade. She's the proprietor of BeFinancialIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinancialIndependent.com. Go there and check her out. Also, want to give a shout out to Altaf Rashid, our Canadian envoy to the show. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to you. We call him Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, longtime supporter of the show. Also, want to give a shout out to my little brother. We call him I call him JT. People call him, government name is Johnny L. Thomas. Been with me for the last 30 years on this journey, believe it or not, brothers and sisters. Much love for that brother and his family, the Thomas family in the city of Milwaukee and Texas. Also, want to give a shout out to my brother Bilal Salahuddin and his queen sister Sonia. Always checking out the shout out show. Sometimes in the same room, sometimes in different rooms, sometimes different parts of the city, but they always check us out, and we have such a good time. Also, I want to take a moment to give a shout out to Sister Rabina Chaudhry, who recently lost her father, Muhammad Akram Chaudhry. We're not as sure. She did tell me some facts of it. I'll let that be between she and I, but please make dua for her and her father that she recently lost. Okay. Also, want to give a shout out to my friend Sohaib Ali, who lost his grandfather from Ushub TV, Ushub.tv. Brother Mirza passed and returned to Allah, so we'll make sure we give that shout out as well. Also, um, and we beyond a notice But I want to move past that because that's speaking on a very, very humanistic, emotional level about forgiveness. Some years ago, I was traveling. I think I was in, maybe I was in Los Angeles. I think it was Los Angeles. And I saw a situation with a homeless man, a homeless brother. And it's from afar. It's from afar. And he was asking forgiveness. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'll never do it again. I didn't mean it. I mean, he was going through it, brother and sisters. I'm sitting there watching it. But here's the thing, he wasn't talking to a human being, he was talking to God. He was asking forgiveness in this place of being homeless, or as they say, unhoused now. But he was asking forgiveness from God. And I have to say, I stopped what I was doing. Maybe that's what I'm getting to. I stopped what I was doing and I watched. And as I watched and watched more, something inside me broke. He had and at the end of his rant or tirade asking God for forgiveness, he smiled. He went from tears to smiles. And I'm still stuck on tears. Like, what is what is this? And what I found was it was the releasing of a lot of things that were on his comedic soul. That to get to that smile, he had to get through some things. He had to get some things off his chest. He had to take them to a very, very immediate source. And I learned. I walked over, I talked to him. You know, it wasn't the conversation that he had just had with God, but it was a quite, an illuminating conversation. He told me what he was sorry for, and he wasn't looking for pity or things like that. He was like, I'm generally afraid that my Lord will lose favor upon me. I said, wow, wow. And then several years ago, and even recently, I began speaking out on the Shout Out show and things like that. And on this particular platform, and on other people's platform too, on stage, as you may well know. And what I started feeling in the world was that people were afraid to bare their souls, like I saw that man, that homeless, that unhoused gentleman in Los Angeles. And let me put myself at the front of the line because I'm one of those people. I can give you an apology, but I'm not necessarily good at going full throat forgiveness. And then I began to understand the value of forgiveness. Two examples. One was a movie. It starred Eddie Murphy, and the premise of the movie was if you had 1,000 words left in your lifetime, how would you use them? Would you use them for profanity, da da da, lying, da da da? And it was interesting. I didn't see all the movie, but it was just very interesting premise about how would you use your words. And it's very interesting that when you ask for forgiveness, and what I remember watching or observing with this particular brother, I think it was what was the brother's name? Nicholas. Brother Nicholas had an efficiency of how he used words when he asked for forgiveness. And I realized, when you talk to people, that's verbal language. When you apologize or ask for, that's verbal language. When you talk to your creator, that's love language. It's love language over here, but it's a different kind of love language, because when you use words and you speak about forgiveness and you're engaging your creator, what is really interesting, man, is those words don't run out. That this is the only time that the efficiency of words will allow you time to ask for more time. When you ask for forgiveness for an individual, it's for something that happened in the past that you can't change. They'll tell you don't worry about it, maybe, but you can't change it. It's for a fixed time. That apology or that asking forgiveness for a fixed time. It was 2 weeks ago. You were referring to 2 weeks ago. But what I noticed with Brother Nicholas, and even now when I pray in the morning, is that I realized that asking for forgiveness is way different, because it's tied to mercy. I'm asking for mercy. I'm asking for a release of love and mercy. I'm asking for compassion. I am coming to you. As Brother Nicholas said, I am coming to you on my knees. I am the most broke down spirits. I admit it. I've laid down my vanity. I've laid down my arrogance. I laid down my pride. I'm coming to you as I can. And we don't do that with other people because we have hangups. And there's a fear that when you go to somebody that vulnerable, that they will take advantage of you. That somehow, someplace, they're going to leverage it against you. And it happens all the time. Except in the case where you're seeking forgiveness to take you to a different plateau. And for the comedic soul, which is not comedy, it is the thing that gives us balance. Sometimes that frames out our hatred, anger, our confusion, our sadness, our fears. It allows them to allay us, because the comedic soul turns you to yourself and says, are you afraid of you? Are you afraid of the potential of who you are? The tragic soul says, here's the bad part. The comedic soul says, here's not only the good part, but this is what could be better. And and over again, I think we forget. Talking to Imam Mark Manley yesterday was funny. We kind of agreed on this, and everybody can have your own opinion, but there's a void of that type of talk and spiritual engagement in the world. We see wars where people kill other people, but it is not in a space whereby it impacts us the way it should, because people calculate what the impact is going to be. People want to frame what the emotional response is going to be because that's to their advantage. So you're never going to see the whole scope of what this war is. And you never will, because while a country may surrender, they're not going to fear. And I need to myself in your eyes, or at least in my eyes. I need you to stick around and see how this thing plays out. The apology does not require that. Therefore, the apology in a lot of regards is very temporal. It's everybody says, "Oh, I just want to say I'm sorry," and people even now are very, very skeptical. I was watching a video of Will Smith apologize to Chris Rock, and people thought it was laughable. Not because the way it was, it was so and I would even go to in it's a high level of admitting that I was wrong. It's admitting that I not only was wrong, but I need to correct this behavior. And so for you to accept my forgiveness, or I need to have it in a space where I'm saying to you, I'm proclaiming that I'm going to clean up whatever this behavior is, or whatever this episode is. I'm going to, as much as I can, make you whole, at least in your mind, about what it is I do. That's a lot. That's way more than an apology. And I say why it's important.
Hey, babies, welcome to Radio WCUC, Convenient Urgent Care, home of the smart patient. This is DJ What It Do. You know what time it is. It's the top of the hour, and the request lines are open. You know what you want to hear. I know what you want to hear. Operators are waiting.
I just got to hear don't get the COVID.
Don't get the COVID. Put your mask back on. The Delta COVID, more contagious than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get the vaccine. You know that it can keep you safe, and your people living up in your space. Don't get the COVID. You need to wash your hands. The Delta COVID is more deadly than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get your vaccine. You know that it can keep you from dying. Don't leave your family all alone and crying. Don't get the COVID.
We invite you to join our fight against COVID and against misinformation. It's time to listen to the doctors and trust the science.
When I think of people dying that don't have to die, it makes me sad. Now's the time to be sober. Together we can make this thing over. Let's fight the COVID. Convenient urgent care, home of the smart patient.
All right, thank you, everybody. I just want to say thank you so much for sticking with me on this topic. It's not easy. A lot of times when I pause, I'm always thinking about things I could have done better, relationships that it could have been stronger. Sometimes being direct is not being kind. They say keeping it real is not keeping it honest. Or sometimes the noise you make is not a beautiful noise. It doesn't usurp the fact that people want sound. People want beautiful sounds, not beautiful noise. And this is something that, like I said, this is something that's been on my heart for quite a long time. My mother and I talk about this a lot. My mom has been through a lot, and my relatives have been through a lot, and my friends, my very close friends, they've all been through a lot. And I think, this is something we need to talk about when I talk about the comedic soul. It is how you embolden the comedic soul at some point in time to move and grow from forgiveness of others to acceptance of what your genius is, of understanding that you are a special person at a special time, at a special place, that your presence and your existence it's not for naught, that it's needed, that somehow, some way, you've been preordained to be in that place. So you've been preordained to be in that family. You've been preordained to be in that mosque or that church, or you married that man, or you married this woman. And it may be that things may not be 100% what you wanted to be. It could be great. It could be tragic. But the thing that I want us to understand is the importance of the comedic soul, not the comedy soul. And I talk about making jokes. We're talking about a deep place where we can accept who we are in the best and the worst of circumstances. In the best and the worst of circumstances. I pointed out Brother Nicholas in LA on his knees. He's unhoused. And at first thought, I'm like, maybe he's a raving madman. And then you started listening to him talk about the need for forgiveness. God, I need you. And giving Bible quotes that tied it in, and a couple of Quran quotes. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And we need examples like that. Not only do we need to forgive, we need to be forgiven. So, like Brother Nicholas, I'm not saying be unhoused, but be honest before your Lord. Be stripped down before your Maker, asking them truthful needs, truthful questions, answering in a space whereby we're not afraid, where the efficiency of our words and asking for forgiveness indeed give us more time. If you ask your Lord for patience, patience requires time. Blessings require time. Healing require time. Understanding require time. Build my wealth require time. Even time in the grave requires time. And so when we talk about this whole thing, even when you talk about comedy, what is comedy about? Good comedy is about great timing. So I want everybody to please take this for however you may like it. I just thought I didn't want to wait to the show. I want to take a walk today at 4 or 5 today. No offense, everybody. This is a beautiful time commitment. Myself, and especially shout out to Sister Satana. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I actually waited to tell you salams at the end of the show because she's an integral part of understanding time and how we grow, and the beautiful nature of who we are as individuals and human beings. So as we wrap, practice forgiveness. Practice forgiveness. See yourself in someone else's situation and how they may talk to you, or how they may talk to God, or how they may talk to the situation. And interject yourself and say, if I was in a situation, this is how I'd ask for forgiveness. It is an extremely unique and divine skill when you understand that the actions, if you will, are so sacred. So listen, that's it. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow, inshallah. I hope that you have a great day. This is your brother, Preacher Moss. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Practice forgiveness.